On today's session, we'll be hosting our guest from Rwanda, Claudel Sebaganwa, who will be taking us on this topic, leveraging analytical tools to improve decision-making. So I'll just give a brief introduction about UrBizEdge. We're in Microsoft Excel consulting, financial modeling, business intelligence, data analysis, and enterprise solution firm in Nigeria. We specialize in helping companies and high-value professionals be on top of their business data. Our team are developers of the only Nigerian financial market analytics tools on the Microsoft Office store and the developers of the Nigerian stock analysis dashboard. We're also the brains behind the Nigerian market data platform. We have trainings throughout the year. The next training that is coming up would be on Tuesday in Abuja, where we'll have an in-depth Excel training on executive dashboards and business data analysis. That's a physical training. So do me well to welcome our host, Sebaganwa Claudel. He's an e-data analyst. He's an expert with over 4 years of experience in integrated data systems, business intelligence, and data analysis. He's focused on providing business intelligence and analytics system to a range of stakeholders to ensure compliance, performance, and operational integrity. His areas of expertise include integrated data systems, data warehousing, data analysis, data modeling, database design, data visualization, integration. He also has experience in some data analytics tools like SQL Server, SSIS, Power BI, and also Python. So do me well to welcome Claudel. Claudel, you're welcome, and you can take over from me from here.
Thank you very much, Tim, for this brilliant introduction. So I think I can go ahead and start sharing my screen and also saying good evening to our guest in the team that hosts us.
Yeah.
I can go ahead. Okay. Can you see my screen?
No, we can't see it yet.
Oh. So maybe. Okay, no, I think this is good now. I think this is good.
Okay, I can see your screen now. I think we can start.
Your screen is up now.
Is
You
open?
can just put it on slideshow mode, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Again, good evening, everyone. As brilliantly introduced by the team, I'm Sebaganwa Claudel. I'm a digital health analyst in the Ministry of Health here in Rwanda, focusing on improving patient systems, patient system integrated systems, patient journey, and also involved in multiple digital health project here in the Ministry of Health. So prior to join the Ministry of Health, I was in the local tech company as a business intelligence coordinator, focusing in data analysis, system development, digital project management. So my experience as introduced is more in PostgreSQL SERVER, SSIS, Excel, Power BI in Python, and I have really some preference for SQL Server, SSIS, and Power BI, and as well as Excel. So I'm currently following a MicroMasters degree in mathematical statistics and data science at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, to which I'm planning to end, at the end of this year. So apart from the hard stuff, I'm a hiking enthusiast, but I yet to hike the highest mountain here in Rwanda, and I was born and raised in Rwanda. So I think that's it. That's put light on my background. So I'll be presenting more on the efficient ways of using analytical tools in an organization. And here you would ask yourself, but how did this topic came in my mind, or how would I, there is a huge problem in organizations. In today's organization, most people are adopting tools, different analytical tools, but without specifying on put it in the right place or in the right use. So, and it ended up by, first of all, not getting the right insights that the tool has to give, spending massive amount of budget in adopting expensive tool that are somehow are in the end useless, and of course ending up by misleading the leadership in decision making, and all of this embedded in a high cost for the organization. But also, this presentation puts everyone, whether you are a data analyst, data engineer, put it in a right framework to know if you are adopting a tool, an analytical tool, what are you using it for? How is it going to help and drive forward and to solve a particular problem, and give particular problem by, of course, giving a solution. So it's in that mindset that we look at, first of all, why analytical tools are important in organization, why adopting these analytical tools. At the end of the day, if we do not, what is the cost of not having actually analytical tools? Why can't we use just paper, or hire a bunch of analysts who will do the work, the manual work for us? So we look at the common analytic tools. We look at the efficient ways of using analytical tools. Here will be combining a bit with a practical example, maybe from different tools, looking at how in real life in organization these can be applied. And then we'll end up with, of course, a Q&A. Yes, but I always say, if there is a burning, you don't have to wait till the end of the presentation to ask a question. If there is a really burning question, feel free to drop in the chat, and I will happily stop and address that and respond to you. So, why analytical tools are important in organization? First of all, there is efficiency. Analytical tools help organization to make sense of a large amount of data. If you have 5 rows, of data of a report, of any kind of report, it won't be you won't be adopting a SQL Server or using Python just to analyze 5 rows. So if it's just 5 rows, you get somewhere you won't be using something like SQL Server or Postgres, or adopting these high-level databases just to store 5 rows. So really, it helps when you have a large amount of data, this is where now we say, okay, here we are going to need to understand the need of adopting analytical tools. And the second one is accuracy. You don't want to have a guessing game with your data. So tools are highly accurate. Different tools, as we'll see as we go on, are highly accurate in calculating, building algorithms that actually give the most accurate data, that the leadership and the management of different organizations based on that to take decision. And the third one, which I really like, because this is where the automation comes in, is the productivity. It really helps the organization to make a informed decision based on the data-driven insight. So in productivity, here you are now at the end of what the tools is giving, the solutions, the insight is providing. So here it's really help the organization make informed decision based on a data driven insight. This is basically the framework that would be reminding ourselves as we go on in this presentation. A different part of the presentation will be falling into the efficiency, accuracy, and productivity. And whenever you are using a tool, you can be asking yourself, whether you're a data analyst, a data engineer, specialized in Python, in R, in Tableau, in Power BI, in Excel, all these analytical tools, these questions have to keep coming back. Is this tool efficient for the work I'm doing? Is the result helping me to be accurate with with the project I'm working with? Am I productive? Can I automate? Can I automate the repetitive task that I'm doing on a daily basis? So this is kind of framework that now we are going to dive deep by looking at the common analytical tools and a bit looking how they can be used in different contexts. Perfect. I think most of you are familiar with these common analytical tools. I think we have Excel, we have Tableau. To be honest, I haven't used Tableau for a very long time. R and Python. I tend to be a Python guy. R, not a big thing. And then Power BI, of course. So out of curiosity, I would like to ask the audience really to see who am I talking to? What are the different stack the audience? What is the different stack the audience is really into using? What are the analytics tools that you are using? You can just drop something in the chat, just to look who am I talking to. The audience, are you experienced with Excel, Tableau, R, Python, Power BI? Yes, Cheesy, Excel, Power BI, SQL, Python, Jennifer, Excel, Power BI, perfect. I think this is perfect. We have some Excel, we have some Power BI, we have some Python. Okay, that's quite a good. We have Excel, Tableau, Excel, Python. So I think again, as we keep moving, and I like that everyone falls into one of this category with really a deep experience to these common analytical tools. I will start with Excel. Why do we use Excel? Why? This is a community, an Excel community, and I will take a few minutes to the team to acknowledge it's an appreciation note to the team for organizing this such amazing webinar. This is where most people get knowledge, and the impact is having to young people, especially that are starting their careers, is really unmatched. And really, this is an appreciation note to the team. So continue on the Excel. It's used for data manipulation, visualization, basic statistical analysis. So I was in the previous webinar with Wilson, and he's really an Excel. I would say he really like a lot Excel. Say Excel is here to stay. Whether you bring Python, R, Power BI, Tableau, Excel is not going anywhere anytime soon. And I have to second that argument. Excel is the father of analytics, and it's here to stay. It's keep improving on a daily. They keep improving. Microsoft keeps improving on a daily basis. Different features. So it's really a powerful tool. Going on Tableau, data visualization, data modeling, you have your best tool here. R and Python, commonly used for advanced statistical analysis and machine learning. And then Power BI, you have business analytics tools that provide interactive visualization and business intelligence capabilities. And then, but again, we need to remind ourselves how these tools falls into the organization. How are we using them efficiently? If you are you are working on a project, let's put away the context of organization for a second and break it down to an individual level. And say you have a project and forget about the tools that we are used to, or we are, how can I say, you are expert on. Another key mistake we do as analysts, and I have done it multiple times, especially at the beginning of my career, even now, you have to have a bias when you are adopting a tool. We are not being really strategic and saying, okay, what is this tool is going to do? Is going to solve my problem. We start by a solution instead of starting by a problem. You are an expert in Python. Instead of saying, okay, is Python going to solve my problem? You say, okay, I'm going to apply. We build algorithms that actually would make something more complex than we should do. So the mistake we are doing here is we are trying to adopt a tool to a problem. I want to make myself. We are bringing a tool to a problem instead of starting with a problem and identify a tool. We are subject matter expert in Python, in Excel, in Power BI. But efficiently, if you get away from the pool, which I always call a pool, if you get away from the pool and look at and say, okay, what's the purpose of this tool I'm going to use? What am I going to do? There are factors to consider when you are defining the purpose of an analytical tool. There are, say, okay, what is it like? What kind of analytics am I doing? Is it descriptive? Am I looking at what happened? Am I diagnostic analytics? Why did it happen? Predictive analytics, what might happen? And on descriptive analytics, here this is most of the organizations are and make things more complex than we. I would give an example on the descriptive analytics, especially let me link it to Power BI, to which I know most people here are really experienced in. So I will have to do a bit this, and then I move to yes. So perfect. So I think I'm displaying a Power BI dataset. I want just to confirm if you guys is what you're seeing. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is pretty basic. This is pretty, I would say, somehow a basic kind of descriptive analytics data set, even though you can use it for predictive. This is for another conversation. But what I'm here really trying to say is, here you have the different columns with each day with data cleaned and I would say in a really a nice format. Here now, what happened next is, what are these? This is the data set I'm having. Is it really optimized to work in Power BI? Is it optimized to be analyzed in Excel? Is it optimized to be analyzed in Python? But you will see that Power BI, here I'm not doing this, even though this is a disclaimer, I'm not doing I'm not doing publicity for Power BI, even though, but this is basically Power BI is the best tool when it comes to the prescriptive analytics, as it combines the ability to have this incorporated data set, but also to also link to also do the modeling, but also at the end of the day link it to a visual dashboard. So not only that, for this particular, I think most of you already know that you can already go and do different data modeling. Today I'm not doing a demo about how Power BI is used, but this is just to like how efficient Power BI can be. If most of the people I can say that you are experienced with Power BI, which is something good. But it's really this kind of efficiency that even you can give credit to Microsoft for really putting everything together. If your organization is not yet adopting a tool like Power BI, it's something that should be brought to somehow the senior leadership. So this is the data set, and what we are looking here is, yeah, it's not the beauty queen, but what we're looking here is more on the prescriptive. It's really telling us what happened in the previous month. It's really giving us some basic prescriptive analytics of what happened. We're not yet into the we are not yet into the how can I say, into the future, into the prediction. So this is a good example of a tool that our organization are adopting to really cover that part of a descriptive analytics. What happened? This was more to show what happened. And then the diagnostic analytics is why did it happen? The predictive analytics, here we are talking more on what might happen next. And here I'm going to bring up an Excel. I think I'm going to bring up an Excel, which I used a long time ago when I was still doing. So this is like a way that we should never use Excel on, even though I know it's a community Excel. So basically, this is what you are looking at now is an area under the curve calculator. Basically, what is this used is used to predict if to give a prediction of what will happen in the future. So there is much more to cover on this, on the area under the curve, but here is a brief context. So on this particular, I'm just showing to show something like this can be easily done in Python. And I know there is a lot of Python expert here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is something like this can be done in just few lines in Python. But here you have a bunch of data to look at, and again, what you need is to define these variables, the minimum costs per event, the false positive, the false negative. Just to bring a bit of context to this, this is a predicting model that was built to try to predict bombshells and seagulls in the air. So basically, this is basically an army context of army that was predicting, that was on the radar. It was showing if there was real seagulls or bombshells. So it was trying to predict whether it was a false positive, which was a false positive if it was seagulls, and false negative if it was a bombshell. So those are the this is the bit of the context of this, but this can be really done efficiently using Excel, especially now that we are talking about the predictive analytics. And when you're doing the predictive analytics of what might happen, it's really to understand which tool am I using. Python, R, these are the best tools. And then you have prescriptive analytics. What do I need to do? Pretty simple. This involves even some human skills and thinking. The second one is choosing the right analytical tool. And again, I'm saying if there is a question, please feel free to drop it in the chat. I will happy to stop and explain a bit if there's something that is not understood. So if not, I'll keep going. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have the choosing now the right analytical tools. also there are some factors to consider. We have more on the data types. What are the data types? What are the data size? So what is data security? How sensitive is the data? Myself, I'm in the health sector. Health data are that sensitive that everyone has to be kept somehow secret. I'll give an example how this is. I think I have some COVID data that I got from Cargo. So my Excel is. I think I've just opened up a little bit. No. Okay. Okay, nice. It's freezing. There is no problem. So I think I have first of all. Okay. So, for example, on the I was saying this is much about the COVID data. Here it was something I was working on. It was a data set available on Cargo. Everyone can log on there if you're interested in health and start performing some analysis. When you look at this one, is really something that you won't understand if you don't know the context. Just to give it context here, if we're looking at the patient that had COVID and try to link with other factors, if the patient was pregnant, has diabetes, has asthma, hypertension, other form of disease, cardiovascular, obesity, renal chronic, tobacco, final classification, or whether he was in the ICU or not. So this basically it's really high sensitive data, as you might imagine. So we want to understand if one I think it was female, and then one it was male, and then two female, and then here the code is 2, it's no, and then one basically it's yes. So when also you are looking at these tool to use, look on the tools that will help in masking, or in kind of hiding these data and hide them, so it can't be I can see someone in the chat, but so they can be high, so they can be I think I just read something on there and then I lost where it was. I was saying about putting this data in somehow, hide them and encrypt them so it can't be identified. So yes, I think there's someone who does. Yes, so this was more on the data security and how sensitive the data can be. And of course, in organization, you always have to look at the budget. When you look at the budget, it's very important. And some of you who are in the organization, you know how tight is budgeting. So you always tend to go with the open source, tools and free tools. But the budget, you also have to look at it. You don't want to adopt a tool that will be costly for the organization. That is not sustainable for a very long time. So if you are using Excel, yes, there is some cost to it, depending on how large is your organization. Do some analysis and do a compare and trust with other tools. For example, you can look at, Power BI has cost, Tableau has its cost. Of course, we know that Tableau is a bit higher, and Power BI is not that high, but budget also is something is very, very important. Last but not least is choosing the appropriate analytical tools. Here I have to do a hot fix. It's not tools, it's technique. Sorry guys, I have to do a hot fix. It's not tools, so it's very sorry for that. So appropriate analytical method. So basically here what I'm trying to see is, when you have like these descriptive and diagnostic analytics, what is the right analytical method to put it? Are you going to use deep learning or supervised and supervised learning, or inferential statistic and stochastic modeling, just to do some prescriptive and diagnostic analytics? Or so this is now where we tend to hype, as data engineers and business analysts, we tend to overhype somehow. We tend to overhype the analysis you're about to do. So we want really to go. We don't want to make it simple. You want to make it sound cool, supervised and supervised machine learning. If I build a complex Python algorithm, this is more cool than, doing some VLOOKUP, doing some basic Excel function just to find out the result. But remember, there is three. Remember what we said in the beginning. The framework is efficiency, accuracy, and productivity. Simple as that. Whether you build an algorithm that has some inferential statistics, stochastic modeling, deep learning, regression, anomaly detection, all these things, if you are not efficient, you are not accurate, you're not providing productive for the organization, you are out of the organization. And that's how it will go. So, and this is for, actually, if in the audience there are some university students who are preparing to move into organization. Sometimes the reality in the organization and in university is different. The reality is somehow different. What brings value to the organization is efficiency, accuracy, and productivity. How hard it is, how cool it looks, this is a story for another day. So this is again the appropriate analytical method we're talking about is really not mismatching, always looking at descriptive analytics, simple as that. I'm doing exploratory analysis. I also combined with the data size. If the data is not more than 200 rows, why bother myself? I just have to use Excel and put it in the right format. If I'm doing descriptive analytics, but the data size is high, I mean, you have now to do something else. You have to use a DBMS first of all, or to store data so they can be processed. And also the prescriptive analytics. This is more on the optimization, simulation, and reinforcement learning. And again, you always have to think of the skills you are even putting in these analytical tools and put it somewhere. Even if you are doing some predictive analytics, looking at the skills you have. If you are using, if you are in the predictive analytics and you know Excel, like I showed in the past in the Excel here that we're using. It's an hectic work to use this Excel for yes, for the purpose of prediction. If I tell you it's an hectic work, so you don't want to, bring this inefficiency in the organization. This will take months, this will take weeks, and the leadership, the guys are upstairs, are not that patient with anyone. So instead of having like this, if you are an experienced Excel, it's better if you say, oh, the work I'm doing in Excel, even if I like it, but it's hectic, there is another tool, there is Python that in just some few codes that you can get something. So what was this again in Python? I don't remember. Group sales by. Okay. So you can use this Python just to make it to your feature, especially in the prediction or R. But Excel, prescriptive, it's better. And it's yes, we're still on the prescriptive analytics, optimization, simulation, reinforcement learning, and yeah, so I think really put the context into this and consider these factors. And also one of these things is when you are starting, again, when you're putting your skills, you are learning a tool, be open. Don't, be a vendor locked. This is the term I think we use, being a vendor locked, having a vendor locked mindset. You just learn Python and say it's going to solve all my problems. No, they're not. It's not going. Power BI is going to solve all your problems. Unfortunately, no. Excel is going to solve all your problems. No. So, analysts, I'll have bad news for you, because we guys have to be somehow hybrid. We need to learn different tools to be able to solve different problems that comes in different contexts. I would say 3 things: define clearly the purpose of the analytic tools, choose the right tools based on the data types, data size, the security, and the budget, and choose the appropriate analytical method. And on the choosing the right tools, if you look at it, I didn't put a tool where you are an expert. Sometimes you might need just to learn a new tool, to learn a new ways of doing things, embrace a new tool that would help you to solve some business problems. So the 3 things to keep in mind: we have to define clear the purpose of the analytic tools, choose the analytic tools based on the data types, data size, the security of the tool, and also have a look at the budget, and also choose the appropriate analytical method, and do not mismatch when you are choosing the tool. Also, another thing to keep in mind, 3 things, very basic: efficiency, accuracy, and productivity. These things will help you to really have to choose the best efficient tool to use in organization, and help the organization move forward and really take a better decision. I think I will open the floor now. I will pause here and open the floor so we can have some discussion. Thank you, team.
Thank you so much, Claudel, for that brilliant topic. You did justice to it. It was really great. Efficient ways of using analytical tools. So I would like to ask the participants, are there any questions? You can drop them in the chat box and then I'll help you out. Thank you all for attending this session. Thank you once again. While I wait for your questions, I would like to ask Claudel a question. So one of the questions I would like to ask is, how did you start out as a data analyst? Can you give us like a brief story or a big background of how you got here, where you are today?
So thank you very much. And it's a bit an interesting segue because my background is in web development. So I started out as a junior database administrator. And this is where my journey started. I started doing some database. I was developing a database for a website. And then some people in my organization, the leadership, the management started asking, because I was managing the database at that time, they started asking me for reports. And then I would query and then send them a report, or how many transactions we had from X period to X period. Oh, and then I query, I give a report in Excel, nothing else. So that was the routine. So I was doing my stuff in database, but I was also doing that particular of reporting. But I didn't understand at that time the data, and I was not really into the data and stuff and everything that goes along with that. And I had a great manager at that time that really inspired me to become, to go into the data space. And what happened, he started saying, but you gave me this report. He was the chief of operations at, he was operation manager at that time. And then he started saying, okay, how, please, can you now, instead of giving me Excels, I spend a lot of time. Doing this Excel and trying to make sense of the data. Can you find a way? And by the way, it's him who introduced me to Power BI. And he said, look at different tools. He'd say, look here, you can look at Power BI. And I said, okay, what is Power BI? And then I started looking at it, and then I started building, slowly dashboard connecting Power BI to the SQL Server. Now I say, oh, now it's starting being more easier. People starting appreciating. And at that time now, I find out the value of data. Because now the attention I was getting from the senior management, at that time I was doing some basic low-level analytics, but the attention that was coming from the senior management, asking everyone before it goes to the meeting, can you update this dashboard? And I said, oh, there is something to explore here. And then I went on and did my different certification in Excel, Python, Power BI. I looked at read different articles and books about data strategy by Bernard Marr. I read about business intelligence, different SSI, BI Polar, all these by Mathieu Roche. So all these guys, I started really getting, I would say, into them. And that's how, and to date, I'm now following up in mathematics and data science at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So I would say that's how I ended up here, and I'm very glad that I ended up here. There is value to provide. there is an impact that we make when you provide insights to the to the decision makers, and they take decisions, and you can see the impact right away. This is really something that is fulfilling.
Yeah, thank you so much, Claudel. That's a very inspiring story, or what will I call that? Because I can see that you've just honed the skill of learning on the job, not attaching yourself to just one tool and exploring other tools to improve efficiency. So that's really great. Thank you so much for that. So what advice would you give to people who are just starting out in their data analytics journey, or they're just new into data? What advice would you give them?
I think the advice, I'm not a really big advice guy, but I would say guidance. I would say two things, and I think I think I would say two things. There is, first of all, in the organizations, or when you're starting the data analytics, there is a bunch of information right there. Everyone is bumping up with you with information. You don't know, am I focusing? There's too much to focus. You can be a data pipeline, a pipeline analyst. You can be in the data modeling. You can be you can be in data visualization. There is too much in data analytics, and we take this big umbrella and put different things. When you are a data analyst, people expect you to provide data visualization, to develop dashboard, to do some data modeling. This is where we apply different algorithms. This is where we apply different formulas. You are expected to do some ETL, some extract, transform, load, some data cleaning and preparation. And you are expected also in some large organization, especially software companies. They are also expected to have some, some skills in the database, where you can even create pipelines that ingest data from production database to the data warehouse. So there is a lot of skills that you need to learn. So my advice would be, first of all, follow, I would say, a good mentor, someone who will teach you. Follow in things like this Excel community. This is really good, and people can't really understand how this kind of community are really valuable to building your career and building push you forward. So find a community, follow a good mentor, someone who teach you, someone who will be patient with you, that will uplift you, anytime. And again, this is first, and then second, I would say, just keep learning. Keep learning. You do not stop. You are an expert in Python. You are not an expert in Python. There is always something to learn. In Excel, you are an expert in Excel. No, you are not an expert in Excel. There is something to learn on a daily basis. And this has come to me as well at the starting of my career, when I was really good with databases. When it comes to databases, to writing queries, some complex queries, I hope, to be honest, this is something I was really good at. And but till there is a database administrator, when I joined my second company, Rainbow, there are some good database administrator that were building queries, and I was like, I'm not even near half of what they can do. And then when I got there, I started having like an imposter syndrome. I started feeling really having that inferiority complex. But one of the things I realized is I was not putting time into learning and developing myself, and touching on different tools, not tools, touching on different areas of SQL, and deepening my skills on that. So I think that was, I would say, strategic mistake, because it's affect you in 1 or 2 years. Technology, when you're not learning, technology is moving fast. There is a kid, there is someone who is people are learning very fast, so you will be out of the market if you keep relying on just the skills you are having right now. So for a good mentor, join a community and keep learning. This will be my really advice and guidance. Other things, it's just coming the way. You just find those 3 will help you to navigate. When you have good mentors, whenever you find there is a problem at work, or you're working on a project, and you can jump in, and then they will help you. When you have a community, same. If I have an Excel problem, I post it here. I know I will have an answer in less, and then keep learning, get learning new things. Every day tools are being updated, everything is being updated, technology is moving fast. Yeah, I think that would be my my advice.
Thank you so much for that advice. Those are solid advice that you just gave. So I have one question in the chat box that I would like to read out. It's speaking about data accuracy, but let me just read it out to be sure of what the person is saying. It's from Kamanzi. He says, I have a question. Most of organizations, including mine, are suffering with data accuracy. But in the end, you realize they have staff who are not trained and equipped with these kind of analytical tools. What advice would you give such organizations? And there's more. So that's the first part. Then the second part says, what analytical tool would you recommend that is easy to learn and adopt within the organization? So the first one is okay.
But it's in the meet chat. Can I see it? I don't think so. Okay. Okay. Yes. I think there are two questions, and I think the staff that are really not equipped with this kind of analytical tools, I think it comes on the organizational level, and here we are talking of I would say a top-down approach. A top-down approach comes from the leadership to the staff down there. If they are not really equipped with these analytical tools, it means there is a gap between what the leadership understand about analytical tools and what the staff and their ability and their skills. As if you are, for example, a manager of a department, there is, first of all, building a data culture at your organization. Building a data culture, it's very important is very important in the organization. Start preaching about and really evangelize with data. So that will help either the management or the staff to start using the tools that are being developed within the data culture. It's really not something that is easier if they are not equipped. It's really a company strategy that has to be changed, and it really has to start with a high level. And then the second is what Analytical would recommend, which is Turing and adopt in the organization. And here I will get back. I will get back to the efficient ways of using analytical tools. What are the purpose of the analytical tools? I won't say Excel, I won't say Python, I won't say R. Even most of the companies are using Excel and Power BI, but it would be wrong from me if I say clearly this is easier. It's depend on the three factors I presented earlier on defining clearly the purpose of the analytical tool. So you want to really to understand what are we using? Are we going to do it some descriptive analytics, some predictive analytics, some prescriptive analytics? What is the data types do we have in our organization? Do we have images? Do we have tabular data? What is the size of data? How sensitive is the data in terms of security? What is the budget do we have? And the second is what are the different analytical methods we want to use? So the predictive analytics or descriptive analytics. So my advice on the adoption would really be looking at that framework, saying defining clear the purpose of the analytics, looking at the data you have, the data size, the security, and the budget, and the third one is looking at the appropriate analytical tools. But if I would say just out of the blue, most of the companies are using Excel, and it's really efficient it has been really there for a very long time, and it's efficient, cost effective, and now most of the companies also adopting Power BI. Those are I'll say these two tools that are even easy to use and the staff can adopt. I think I will pause there.
Thank you so much for that response. I think that does justice to this question. So it has to be a top to bottom approach from the organization level. And also, as you said, preaching or evangelizing about the essence of the data. Thank you so much for that, for the great session. And thank you everyone for joining.